Hello there and welcome to the English Rare Film Festival show. And on the show today we have award-winning film producers Kelley and Sara Huxley, otherwise known as Mini Productions. But before we interview them, here's some clips from some of their films.
Esther, come here. What? Run.
Will you be there, waiting for me? Even though you always knew that I knew.
God, you look like shit.
Thank you.
Mwah. Had a great time last night. Is this boy Jamie or girl Jamie?
This is boy Jamie.
I thought you were seeing girl Jamie this
Oh, I did. Saw her Thursday.
week. Wow.
Yes. Yes. Why do I get the feeling you're about to turn this all around on me?
On the show today, I'm very happy. We've got Kelley and Sara Huxley that are Mini Productions. And before we start our interview, we do a segment. If you'd like to introduce yourselves and what's got you inspired in filmmaking. So, April.
Ooh, April, yeah, you start.
Yeah, I'm the April of the minis. What got me inspired? Well, from a very early age, I enjoyed far more diving into someone else's world and escaping into another world. That I thought, wow, if I could make a career out of this would be great. And then as I grew up, I thought, if we could create content that helps someone else escape their reality and go into another, then that's job done. So that's what inspired me.
Awesome. Sara?
Well, April and I both trained at drama school, so we both trained as actors. And I was actually approached by a teacher who sort of said, like, I think you'd be a great producer. You're very organised. And I came from little old Shropshire and didn't really know much about the industry, really, because there's not a huge amount of filming in Shropshire. There's limited good theatres in Shropshire. But I obviously loved drama school and loved acting. And so it was the first time I'd really ever heard the word producer. And I was like 20 years old. So then I started doing bits of theatre, and then a mutual friend introduced April and I, and she'd started Mini, and I was like, my eyes were open to this amazing world of producing film, and we started in short films together, and it basically grew from there, really.
Oh, amazing. So, on your website, I love what it says in your website. At our core, Mini Productions believe in the power of storytelling and the magic lies escaping reality, what you just said, and diving into somebody else's world. Now, whoever wants to answer that, what's that about, and how did you start a production company? Because you've done so many different kinds of films and different stories and things. So.
Yeah, we're easily distracted. Following on from what Sara said, we were both at drama school, and then in my second year, we had to do a module on what we were going to do when we weren't acting that wasn't soul destroying. So I presented starting a production company, and my tutor at the end of that pulled me to one side and said, you want to come back next week and do something a little bit more realistic? And 2 weeks later, registered the company and didn't look back. But what Sarah and I caught on very quickly was the short film world on the whole is there for the directors and writers to start making their names. You don't, as producers, you don't really get any of the glory at all in any part of this industry, but that's harsh. We do get some. We decided to expand our knowledge and also to hit the different festival circuits with a whole array of short films, from horror to LGBT to drama. We would switch it up. Sometimes we'd shoot out of the country. We would even change things like the ratio of which we shot in. And that was just so we educated ourselves. We learned and we saw what festival circuits we were enjoying the most. And that kind of brought us to where we are now.
Because it's such an amazing arrangement of films and sort of actors you work with, and named people. Obviously that must help with finance. Does that help secure, to budgets and things?
Yeah, definitely. I guess we always work really hard to keep really good relationships with agents, which helps build that trust, and also have a really strong network of directors and people that trust us to work with. And so that validation really helps when you're getting bigger names, as it were, and making them feel safe, that what you're going to shoot is of a good quality and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of the time, like, projects always come to us quite differently, but sometimes it will be a director with a real passion project and they know the actor, or they've sent it to the actor and it's a script that just like they really, really loved. So there's so many ways to getting those big names, but it's been like a privilege to work with all of those people. And there's normally a hook, whether it's we know them or the director knows them or they loved the script or they're passionate about the project, that's been kind of the or we know their agent well, and so recommendations.
What I love about what you do is you can have a name on, you can have anything, you can chuck money at a thing, but the cinematography of your films is fantastic and the stories are great. You have great characters. How much influence do you have on that, like with the directors you get? How do you decide that process of setting that dynamic up?
Well, 9 times out of 10, Sarah, we usually have the script presented to us.
Yeah.
So the first hurdle of attaching us is, do we like the story? Do we think the story has depth? Do we like these characters? Are we rooting for them? So it needs to be a good story before it gets to us, doesn't it?
Yeah, but also, like, a producer's role is so much about that scripting process as well, and having an eye in the creative and how you're going to piece together the edit, because a producer, as you know, John, like, sees everything from start to finish. You're there right at the, when we say it's like giving birth to a child, you're right there at the conception of the idea, and then you have to do all the really hard work to get the end result. And it's like, that script, the more short films or content, whether it's features, like, it really takes so much out of you producing. You give so much to a project that you have to love it, and part of that process is making it the best script it can be. So we do send notes, and we do work with the director and the writers, or like April does quite a bit of writing now herself, and we make sure that the script is something that we think is really brilliant. And I'd say that's one of the things that we've really learned, and I certainly learned right at the beginning, the first time I ever produced something, was that you have to really love it, and you have to really think it's good, like really good, like you genuinely have to believe in it, because you'll give so much free time. Even when you're working on the big budgeted stuff, you will give so much of your time and energy that you have to think it's really good in order to do that.
And even with short films, so they come to us, but Sarah's quite right. You never actually stop writing a script in general, but in terms of shorts, we go through that whole scripting development process, and then even in the edit, you're still changing it. And it's then making sure that you as a team are collaborative and you're in it together. And then when it comes to DOPs, we're very good. So we let the director go and find who they want, or present us with a few options. And then even that, it's so collaborative. We love to be a part of that. And as producers, we are very hands-on, but not in like a soccer mum kind of way. We're just excited and want to be a part of it because we have the overall vision from the script all the way through to what festivals it's getting into. We know what everyone else might be thinking. So sometimes if a DP really wants to do this one thing, or maybe want to shoot it in square, it might not necessarily work. So there is that push and pull, but overall the DPs we've worked with, we've been so fortunate. Oh wow. I mean, we've either been fortunate that we've caught them just before they skyrocketed, or have somehow managed to get them on board.
Brilliant. But that's the power of the story, because each, as you say, each of the films is, you're telling a story, and with, especially with the short film space, you've only got so much to introduce the character, get to the crux of the tale. So, but what's been the key to success for you? So I was looking at, I've got your website on my phone, and I was just scrolling through there. So many different festivals. What is the key to the festival success for you?
Well, we actually do strategically choose films to, like April kind of said, to test out something new that we haven't done before, but also to test out different genres. So we recently did a horror, and before then it was LGBT, and then before that, you know, we've done comedy and we've done drama and we've done World War I like period drama stuff. So for us, it's like every short, when you do a short, it has to be a different challenge, and so that's actually opened the door to a whole like array of festivals and different types of festivals. And that was kind of a game plan for us as we get into bigger like longer form content and features, because then you've got the in with the short and you've done a proof of concept to say, yes, look, we can make a drama, and yes, we can make horror and all that stuff. So then you have trust for the bigger stuff that you can deliver it.
Yeah, and those festivals are so important, especially the reason why it looks like we've gone to so many festivals, and it's true, we have, we're not lying about that, is because we build relationships with festival directors, and the festivals directors want to support their alumni. So that is why we go time and time back to them. But what we always say with people who are making their first short film, or mainly their first short film, is the instinct is to put every single penny on the screen, which is wonderful, and that's how your head should be. But we learn with short films, if you do not have that festival and marketing budget, no one's going to see your film. So then you ask them, what was the point of making your film? To be seen by other people. So you need to make sure you have the money there to spend it and let it be seen. And there's festivals worldwide now, and it's so, the opportunities are there to be had.
But also, like, festival people that create festivals, we found, are filmmakers a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And they like really want to watch good films, and they really want to talk to other filmmakers, and they have like a real passion for it. So like being engaged with that and not just seeing them as another like, oh, I send off my money and I hope for the best and I probably won't get in anyway, is like the wrong attitude to have. And having a vested interest, like going to the festival, even if your film doesn't get into it, caring about the people that are behind it, makes such a difference. But we found going to festivals, we learned what worked. Like we genuinely watched films and went, that short works, that short doesn't, that short works, that short doesn't, and why. So we often sit and watch short films just in our lunch breaks, just to get an eye in, because like
having been a director of a festival, what I've seen is the ones I'm not part of the judging process, but the ones that seem to get through the judging process, it's all about the pacing. Is that something?
Totally.
Yeah,
that's interesting, because it's, well, we think about it in our bigger projects, but funny enough, in terms of the last two shorts I've just written, pacing has been one of the compliments. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I know it as a producer, but as someone actually writing it, it never came into my conscious. So I'm on board for that word now.
Yeah, because in the olden days when do you remember your first film? You thank everybody in the opening credits. because they gave their time out, but you want to thank them, and all the names are there. Then it takes about 3 minutes. You get into the story.
Yeah.
You've got to get straight to it, and they've always got to have a reveal or a hook or something that throws the audience off balance. And also with shorts, you don't have to necessarily sometimes have the best production value. You can just have a really beautiful actors, and that's not even famous faces. Like when it's done well, Stutter is like such a good example. I always like think about that film because that was the one that won the Oscar, and it was $5,000 it took to make, and the actor was relatively unknown, and it was just a beautiful concept and beautifully acted, and it just did so well.
And I always think of Rosie Westhoff's first short film, Crush, and it's 8 minutes, if that, and there's maybe 2-3 lines of dialogue, and it's just this young teenage girl's first crush, which she experiences across the platform of a train. And it's just brilliant. It stuck with me forever. There's no famous people. It was done on a shoestring, no talking. That's great. And yeah.
And it sort of lifts you, don't it? It's like when I saw Amelie, that was like, wow. There's certain films that you see that just inspire you. Have you got any films that you haven't produced that you thought, I want to do one of those? Has there ever been one of those?
Oh, well, April's going to say Miss Congeniality. It's a favourite film of all time. Thelma and Louise is another classic.
Let me tell you, John, the pacing in Miss Congeniality, they don't miss a beat. It's brilliant.
That's one with William Shatner, isn't it?
Yeah. I always say that's my favourite film, which I could watch time and time again. Honestly, if you told me I was going to watch it tonight, excellent, on board. But my favourite film, which really inspired me from a filmmaker's perspective, is The Hours with Nicole Kidman, Meryl Streep, Julianne Moore. That structure of weaving Virginia Woolf's history and then Mrs. Dalloway and then the present day reading Mrs. Dalloway. It's beautiful filmmaking. Loved it.
So we talked a bit about your productions and where's it going, a bit about your films. I'm going to leave it sort of vague so people check out your website, because we can put a link under this video and check the amazing range of films that you've produced. Where next for Mini Productions? That big question.
Somewhere around our house at this stage?
Yeah, just staying in. We've just shot, we finished off our debut feature last January. We filmed it in deepest, darkest Wales. It actually looks like we filmed it in Canada, but we didn't. We filmed it in Wales because the trees are so amazing out there. We got snowed in for a number of days, and we couldn't move around even in 4x4s. It was quite treacherous, John. But it's finally finished, and it will be hopefully. I'm just saying, doing a festival. I don't know if the festivals will even be open. They might not. It might not go to any festivals, and then we might try and sell it in a different way. But yeah, we're so proud to have finally done a feature. We worked up to it. Took us many years of doing lots of other stuff to build up to that. And we've got another feature in development that's coming along quite nicely, actually, and getting a good amount of traction in this lockdown time, and some TV concepts. So it's on to the bigger stuff is the plan, John.
Yeah.
Plus, April, what do you want to say about your?
Oh no, I was just going to say, following on from that, we would not have been able to do our debut feature at the level that we did it. Of course, learning every single day, but we would not have been able to achieve it if we hadn't have done every single one of those shorts.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't say how invaluable it is to do shorts. We will never be a company or a producing duo that will be like, we're done with shorts, because there's always something to be learned. You've just got to look at the content that's happening on the streaming platforms. Like, they've now got series that are 15 minutes long. Like, the art form of short films will never die out, or you will never become better than a short film.
Yeah, and I think giving short filmmakers out there like confidence to keep going, because even when we did our feature, we actually looked back to the lessons that we learned when we shot Edith, which was one of our first big short films. Like it was the biggest budget that we'd worked on, and you can actually, viewers can watch that. It's on Amazon Prime at the moment, Edith.
Hey.
And it had it's got Peter Mullen and Michelle Fairley in, and it was an amazing experience, but it was really hard, and we filmed it in Northumberland on the top of this like mountain in the middle of nowhere. It's quite treacherous. Apparently that's our thing, and it was very snowy and very cold. And even when we were doing our feature years on, we're there like having these chats like, do you remember on Edith when this happened with the 4x4? Do you remember on Edith when this happened with the snow? So even years later, you're using what you've learned on a short to actually inform good practice when you're then shooting the bigger stuff. So it's invaluable, really.
It's amazing. So we've nearly come to the end of our interview. It goes amazingly quick. As I could talk forever. Could you, where can we find your work? And I'd really like to hear about, before you go, what is Acting on a Dream?
Oh.
Yeah. So whoever wants to.
Where can you find our work? So the website's pretty much the hub of it all. From that, you can see what films are on Amazon Prime. We've got 4 films on Amazon Prime now. There are other films that are distributed on different platforms. All of our social media are on there. We are social media whores. We're on all the platforms, not TikTok. And and Acting on a Dream. Sarah, why don't you wash that one?
So Acting on a Dream is a positive media company, and it's basically primarily we're across Twitter and Facebook, and we've got a wonderful website that took us a long time to make, but Instagram's kind of got our biggest audience, and it's really a positive mental health hub where we post lots of inspirational content. We did a whole interview series with people like Jeremy Paxman and Kate Moss, not the model, but the famous author, and some wonderful people in our first series. We're developing our second, that works with charities each time to interview them and sort of see what makes them tick. But it's really also, particularly Instagram, a place where you can scroll and read inspirational quotes and consume positive media, because we just feel now more than ever it's really important, and positive mental health online is just so important. So there's that, and there's a website as well.
And I know it sounds like we're jumping on the bandwagon, but we are in the process of putting together a podcast which will be released. The first episode will be released during World Mental Health Week in May.
Did you want to mention your charity, April, that you do a lot of work for? Is it Bipolar UK?
Yeah. So I'm the ambassador of Bipolar UK, and I'm just diving in really with them because they are the only national charity that specialise in bipolar. I myself only got formally diagnosed 2 years ago, and then publicly, not that I have any followers, but I publicly came out about it as an easy way just to tell any of my friends or colleagues, because of course I only told my immediate friends and family. And they're a really, really special charity. They are everything that gets given to them, they're giving back. The current crisis is stinging all the charities, and in particular Bipolar UK. So Sarah and I have teamed up because Sarah is effectively my carer. She is the one that can manage me the best. And we're doing the 2.6 challenge to raise money for them, and we're raising money all the way through to the end of Mental Health Week, which is going to be about the 26th of May, and we're doing a load of silly stuff and just getting people to talk more about it and relieve some of that stigma.
Oh, brilliant. No, that's amazing. So it's coming across the stories you tell and the charity work you're doing is fantastic. Thanks very much for joining me today. It's been brilliant, and some really inspiring words to filmmakers out there to, just starting out, or, don't give up.
Thanks,
Can make a good feature.
Yeah, definitely. And now's the time to, write if you feel like you want to write and do those things that you can now that stuff's slowed down a little bit. So,
and our tagline for Acting on a Dream is anything is possible. So brilliant. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Thanks very
You
much.
stay safe, John. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Right.
All right.
Cheers.